This is problem 1.40 from Francois Tardieu's Backgammon Strategic Concepts book from chapter 1. Here's the position. We're blue. We rolled a 2-1. Our home board's in the bottom right. We'll look at 3 of the top moves. I'll give you my quick observations on each move, some of Tardieu's key points, Tardieu's expert analysis with feedback from XG, Tardieu's summary, and at the end of the video, I'll modify the position, which brings up a couple questions. Here's the first possible move, making the 9 point and bringing one down from the midpoint, 13, 11, 10, 9, like this. This makes the structural 9 point a point which is going to be helpful for developing our structure on our side of the board. Cleans up the 2 blots on the 10 and the 9, but leaves a blot on the 11. Strips the midpoint. Leaves us with multiple builders for the 5 point, which is the point we'd like to get next. Second possible move is make the bar point 9, 7, 8, 7, like this. Makes the valuable 7 point, the bar point. Leaves us with a stripped 7 and 8 point, however, as well as a blot on the 10 point, which makes this a fairly inflexible board. Stack points, strip points, and a blot. We are blocking white's back checkers, 5s and 6s, which helps to keep them back and stop them from escaping. Third possible move is to split our back checkers and cover our 2 blots in the 10 and 9, like this. Splits our back checkers in hopes of making an advanced anchor. White's home board is stronger than ours. White has 2 points covered in their home board. We have 1, which is usually a reason for to not split our back checkers. White has only 8 checkers in the zone, which is usually an argument to split. When our opponent has less than 10 checkers in the zone, it's a sign that we might want to split. Take advantage of white's weak attack here. Removes our blots and makes a structural 9 point. Here are the final positions for all 3 moves. Take a look at the features of each position, the pip count, the threats facing each player, the strength of each player's board, and think of which one looks best to you and you might make. Quick recap. Here's the play before and after where we make the 9 point. Here's the before and after. Here's the before and after making the 7 point, the bar point, before, after. And here's the before and after of splitting our back checkers and covering our blots and making the 9 point. Some of Tardieu's key points. Splitting when our opponent has a stronger inner board, 2 points covered opposed to ours 1, is usually not recommended when our opponent has a stronger home board, as we will be the underdog in a shooting or hitting contest. However, we must look ahead to see how white will develop their position. Is their position going to get better or worse? Here, white's 5 checkers on their midpoint are begging to be mobilized, to be moved, and this is the point of the game at which white's position is weakest. because white's sure to improve their position next row by moving some of these off the midpoint, bring some builders down, maybe making a point. Splitting to the 22 point, steps up close to the edge of white's prime, and also splitting will allow us to harass any builders white might bring down from his midpoint. The 9 point is a good structural point, part of a 5 prime from the 5 to the 9 point, and provides attacking checkers that can be activated if white decides to split their back checkers. Doing two good things with one roll is often the best strategy. Let's look and see what Tardieu and XG say about each possible move. Making the 9 point, Tardieu says the 9 point is a good structural point, part of a 5 prime from the 5 point to the 9 point. Also, making the 9 point provides attacking checkers that can be activated if white decides to split his back checkers. 1311 strips the midpoint and does not make the best use of R2. We'd use R2 more effectively. That's why this is the third best of the top three plays. The second best play of the top three is to make the bar point the 7 point. Making the bar point provides us with a valuable point. However, it also leaves us with a fairly inflexible board. Our 7 point and 8 point are both stripped. Our 6 point is stacked, which makes our board inflexible. Even though white has a stronger home board, 2 points covered as opposed to R1, now is a good time to think about mobilizing our back checkers, moving our back checkers, which would be splitting them, which is what the top play does. Splitting, when our opponent has a stronger inboard, is usually not recommended. However, in this position, we must look ahead to see how white's position will develop. White's position is weak now, but sure to improve on their next roll. By splitting to the 22 point now, we step up close to the edge of white's prime, where we can harass any builders coming from white's midpoint. The 9 point is a good structural point, part of a 5 prime from the 5 to the 9 point, and provides attacking checkers if white splits their back checkers. Doing two good things with one roll is often the best strategy, and that's what this move does. Gets our back checkers moving and creates a good structural point, which is going to be helpful to develop our board in upcoming rolls. Tardieu's summary: splitting when your opponent has a stronger innerboard is not recommended generally, as you will be the underdog in a shooting contest. However, if you're achieving two objectives at the same time, it is certainly the right play. If I modify the position and give white a stronger attack here, I've taken two checkers off the midpoint, put one more on the 17, one more on the 20. So now white has a stronger attack. Now it's too dangerous for us to split our back checkers. Instead, we should focus on our side of the board and strengthen our prime, work on strengthening our prime. I think I'm interpreting this correctly, but I might be missing something. Let me know if you agree or not, or if you have a question or a comment. Any and all feedback is welcome. Make sure to check out Alex Eshaghian's excellent review of Tardieu's book on YouTube, as well as Sunny Florida Backgammon Club's informative series of lessons on Tardieu's book, also on YouTube.